Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome for today's class. So we're going to move on to text number 17. Before that, we'll quickly do Mangala Charan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So welcome. We had completed till shloka number 16 from the 15th chapter. And we'll be concluding this chapter today. There are only 4 shlokas left. Yeah. So the last time we saw that how the 2 kinds of living entities, the Kshar and Akshara, okay, the fallible and the infallible. Kshara is fallible, those who fall down. And Akshara is infallible, who do not fall down or who do not deviate from the path. So, and the super soul is now in this particular shloka, Krishna is going to say that I am beyond the Kshar and Akshara, living entities. So he's saying that Uttama Purushatva Anya Paramatmetyudaratah Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Bibhrati Avyaya Ishvara. He says that besides these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. So, if you see, even previously also he has mentioned that how he is maintaining the 3 worlds. But over here he is saying in third person, somebody else is maintaining, right? So when he is saying, Uttama Purushattu Anyaha, the Supreme Person is somebody else. And it is very significant that there is Akshara and there is Kshara also. And there is this conditioned soul and there is a liberated soul. So conditioned souls are Kshara and liberated souls are Akshara. But this Supreme Person is Uttama. He is the best. He is the Uttama Purusha, he is saying. Okay. And why Uttama Purusha? Because this Uttam Purush is not a liberated soul, but he is something higher beyond the liberated also. So when he's saying Paramatma iti udaratah, he is the Paramatma, the super soul. This is what he is saying, that who is that particular uh, person? He is the Paramatma, the super soul. And then he is saying that Yo Loka Trayam Avishya. These three words, Avishya means, entering, right? So he has entered these three worlds and he's saying, after entering the three worlds, what is he doing? Bibrati Avyaya Ishvaraha. He is maintaining. He is, Krishna over here, what is he trying to do is, he's trying to uh, build up the what the message of the Vedas are, or the message of the Vedanta. So if you look at the Vedanta Sutra, it talks about primarily it talks about Brahman, but Krishna is using third person also. So there is an Uttama Purush, and who is that Uttam Purush? He is Paramatma, or he is known as the Paramatma. So Krishna has used Paramatma many times. He's used it in the 6th chapter. He's used it in the 13th chapter also. But over here, when he's saying, there is an important point over here. Krishna is telling that in this message of Vedanta, there are two Purushas. But beyond that, there is an Uttam Purush also, and he is known as Paramatma. And he enters into all the worlds, and he's maintaining the worlds. So even in this 13th shloka also, he has said, na gam aveshya cha bhutani dharayami aham ojasaha. Right? So I am entering the planets and I am only maintaining those planets. And now Krishna is saying that Paramatma maintains those planets. So somebody, can put, somebody can say, okay, 2 plus 2 is 4, or 2 and 2, they can put together. And we can say that it is Krishna who is entering into all the planets, and it is Krishna who is being talked about in the Vedas. That is what actually Krishna will tell in the next verse also. So Krishna is referring to himself as the third person over here, and later he will refer to himself as the first person. And why is that so? Because he's not talking from the perspective of the Vedanta. See, Vedanta talks about Akshara and Kshara and Uttam Purush, and Krishna says that I am the Uttam Purusha. So in this way, in the three, these three, he's leading to a conclusion that by the Vedas, I am to be known. He does not give this conclusion right in the beginning only. He builds it up and then he gives that conclusion. So this is a development of thought that, see, I is the first person, then you all are the second person, and he or she is the third person. So Krishna is referring to Uttama Purush as the third person over here, because he's talking from the perspective of the Vedanta. And he's saying that that person is beyond the condition, and that person is liberated also. So if you see, first he's establishing that supreme soul or the supreme person is different from both the conditioned and the liberated soul. And the supreme person is different from even the liberated soul. And then secondly, he's saying that it is not that the liberated soul who is pervading, it is the supreme soul who is pervading all around. And the super soul or the supreme soul is entering into all the creations and is maintaining all the creations. And that is only actually, who is that? It's actually the Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So we know that Kanodakshay Vishnu is the sum total of all the Paramatmas. He is the fountainhead of all the Paramatmas. And then we know that Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters into every universe. So he is the Paramatma of that particular universe. And then Shirodakshai Vishnu, he enters into every living entity's heart, and then he sits there as the Paramatma of that particular living entity. So that way. So this word Anya, when he's saying that Anya, there is another. So shows that not even the liberated soul, the ideas of the Mayavadi is that they want to merge in the Brahman and become everything. So Krishna is saying that no, that supreme person is somebody else. That supreme person is all pervading. He is existing everywhere. And the third thing he is saying over here is that in the next verse also he is saying that that supreme person is me. He will pervade in the next verse also. That is the 18th verse also. So that's how. So Krishna is correlating. Vedeshcha sarvera aham eva vedyo. He came to the same conclusion through this three shloki Gita. So we are doing the three shloki Gita. That is the 16th, 17th, and the 18th. Okay. So if you see in the purport also, what is Srila Prabhupada saying that Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. So he's saying that there are many living entities, but among them, there is one person who is a special person and who is supreme. And that same thing is told over here that the super soul or the supreme soul is beyond the liberated souls. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the next shloka, the 18th one. So he says that Yasmat Ksharam Atito Aham Aksharaadapi Chottama Atosmin Loke Vede Cha Pratittaha Purushottamaha. Okay. So then he's saying that because I'm transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Now he is coming, then he's saying that Yasvat Ksharam Atitaha Aham, because I am beyond that Kshara also. And Atitaha means he's saying transcendental, and transcendental means only beyond. Okay. And Aksharat Api Chottama. And because I am beyond that Akshara also, beyond that infallible also. See, so early what Krishna had told that that Uttam Purush is beyond the Kshar and Akshara. And now in this shloka, Krishna is using the word Aham to make things very clearly. He's saying Aham, I am that. I am beyond that Shar and Akshara. And then he's saying that Ato Asmi Loke Vede Cha. So this therefore this Loke Vede Cha in all these lokas and all the different planets and in the Vedas and in the world among the Vedas, then he's saying that Pratitaha Purusha Uttamaha. I am celebrated as that Uttama Purush or Purush Uttama. Okay. So that is why this chapter is called, what is this chapter's name? Purushottam Yoga, right? And though, of course, Prabhupada has mentioned it as the yoga of the Supreme Person, but in Sanskrit, this chapter is called as Purushottam Yoga, Yoga of the Supreme, as Srila Prabhupada translates. So, Krishna has clearly established here that I am that Purushottamaha. And the Purushottam Krishna has referred to when he was talking about upside down banyan tree. the beginning of the chapter, right? And here, there he said actually that after one becomes liberated from the material world and he goes beyond there also, in that beyond, he has to search for that supreme person. And even in the 14th, oh, sorry, not the 14th sloka, I think it was the 4th sloka. Yeah. In the 4th shloka also, what has been said is that uh, Tatha Padam. So, one has to surrender to the Supreme Person, and the transcendental person who one has to seek after is Krishna only, because only after seeking Krishna one becomes disentangled from this material existence. Uh, See, that means just disentanglement from material existence and you attain the spiritual platform is not so much enough in the spiritual platform, but also one has to connect with the Supreme Lord. So only disconnection is not sufficient enough, but there has to be connection with the Supreme also. That is what is being said over here. Okay. And so then he's saying that beyond this Brahman, one has to rise to the Bhagwan level. So you have the Brahma Jyoti, but beyond the Brahma Jyoti is also Krishna's personal abode, which is Golok Vrindavan. So one has to rise to that Bhagwan level. So that Bhagwan is that Purusha who is beyond the liberation. And also that Purusha is a Purushottama. And that Purushottama is actually Krishna. So this or these three verses, uh, they expose most of the Mayavad philosophy in a more stronger way, because Krishna leaves a very little scope for any interpretation for the Mayavadis, and people do so much of word jugglery. But if we let Bhagavad Gita speak for itself, then this particular shloka is a very obvious shloka. And Srila Prabhupada often says that Krishna can speak about himself. Let Krishna speak. And he does that, you shut up. So don't concoct as such. So Krishna is saying that, first of all, there are two persons. One is the conditioned soul and one is the liberated soul. And the Supreme Person is beyond these two, Kshara and Akshara, who is maintaining them. And then Krishna is saying that I am that Supreme Person. So even if one is liberated, he does not merge into the Supreme Person. Krishna still remains the Supreme Reality and the Supreme Person. So Bhagavad Gita is strongly refuting this Mayavad. And like even in the, many other Upanishads also, they say that the super soul comes out of the body, and then the super soul goes and gets situated in the Brahma Jyoti, and then how he is situated in one's own form, that is called Purushottama. So if you see the three aspects of the absolute truth, okay. So there are three aspects of the absolute truth. We also know right from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we have been seeing is that three aspects are Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So in the 16th shloka, he's talking about two kinds of living entities. One is the Shar and one is the Akshara. So he's talking about the Brahman aspect. In the 17th, he's talking about, clearly he's talking about that, I am the Paramatma. That Paramatma, So he's talking about the Paramatma. And this Paramatma, which has been talked about, he's talked about this even in the 10th chapter. What is that shloka? Just a second. I think it was 10 point. 10.41. यज्ञ विभूति मत सत्वम श्रीमद ऊरितम एवच तत्तत एव गच्छत्वम माम तेजसो माम अंश संभवम. So know that all the opulent, beautiful and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So that is the actually Paramatma. Okay. And then he's talking about even the Bhagavan aspect also. So when he's saying that uh, when actually now in the next shloka when he'll be speaking about even the we need to have a coordination between our mm, hmm. He's actually talking about the coordination between the head and the heart. So how this works, these three aspects, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, that Krishna in the 18th shloka is saying, in this particular shloka is saying that uh, he's celebrated as the Paramatma in the three worlds, and he's beyond the Kshara and Akshara. And we know that the Absolute Truth has three aspects. And the Bhagwan aspect of the Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth is transcendental to everything and everyone. So, in that sense, it's a very logical correlation that this particular verse is referring to Bhagavan only. And Krishna is clearly using this word Aham. I am that Purusha Uttama. And that Purushottam is entering into the three worlds. He's residing, he's maintaining them. And so that is the Paramatma. So that is how, all the three, what do you say? All the three Purushas, uh, uh, they enter into this three world, like the Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. So I already mentioned that Mahavishnu is only Karnodakshay Vishnu. And Garbhodakshay Vishnu is entering into every universe and, giving life. And Shirodakshay Vishnu is entering into all the hearts of all the living entities. And Shirodakshay Vishnu enters even into the matters also. Matter means dead matter also. So then, in the and even in the 8th chapter, if you see, even in the 8th chapter, even Arjuna is asking a question about Kshar and Akshara. Na Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhava Dhyatitam Uchyate. So there also, Akshara is Brahman. And Srila Prabhupada has referred that Akshara as that living entity. But the Acharyas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is giving us a different explanation there also. And that Akshara is actually referred to as Brahman. So, Akshara is what is infallible or which does not fall from his position or one who does not deviate. And Brahman is also Kutastha. It is situated without any changes. See, the Brahman is situated in trance and without any changes. So, in that sense, um, there Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan in the 8th chapter, there is a progression. But in these three verses, this progression, Krishna is taking to that ultimate conclusion. And the ultimate conclusion is that we have to understand that Krishna is the supreme person and Krishna is only that particular Purushottama. So, if I want to say that, these three verses may, in one line, if I want to say what Krishna wants to say in the 16th shloka, that Krishna is not same as the liberated Purusha, but he is beyond the liberated. And in the 17th, Krishna is Purushottama and Paramatma. And in the 18th, he's saying that he himself is the highest manifestation of the absolute truth. So now, more clarity we will get in the next shloka. Let's check the 19th shloka. Okay. So I have my Subodhini, and Subodhini is a very nice road map, which actually tells me, really, the Subodhini is really very nice, written by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu, giving such a clear map. So the 19th and the 20th shloka is actually saying that anybody who knows Krishna means he knows everything. Right? Knower of Krishna knows everything. So what is he saying? Yo mam evam asammodho janati purushottamam sa sarva ved bhajati mama sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. Just 1 minute. I think this font size, I have reduced it. Okay. Yeah. And he's saying that whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. So, if one understands the three shloki verse in the Bhagavad Gita, then he should come to the conclusion that Krishna is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he should not doubt that Krishna is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because he does not doubt, he engages himself in full bhakti or full devotional service to Krishna. And Sarva Bhavena Bharata. So, in all respects, he concludes that Krishna is only the Supreme, and that's why he engages in full glory. So, see, what is he saying over here is that Yo mam eva asammudho. Okay. Asammudha means what? Means without any delusion, bina kisi bram ke, right? One who understands me to be what? To be the Purushottama, or to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then such a person is what? Saha Sarva with. Such a person is, he knows everything. He is the knower of everything. And now when he knows everything, right, he got this complete knowledge of Krishna, he's saying. And to know Krishna as Purushottama means only Saha Sarva Vitta. And Krishna, even in the second chapter, no, it's not second chapter, I'm sorry. What is the chapter? Seventh chapter. Seventh chapter, second shloka only. See, I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. Okay. So Krishna is giving complete knowledge. And after knowing this, there is nothing to be known further. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to be known. So he is giving a complete knowledge. That means the broad principle that comprise of this knowledge are actually given in a very complete form. Means what? That Krishna is trying to explain the principles in great detail, and in full clarity he's explaining these details. And Krishna is saying that over here the essential principle, he's saying that um, uh, uh, he's saying that I am to be known. Okay. And the knowledge is to know me. So by whatever knowledge you take, but that knowledge has to lead to me. That knowledge should lead to devotional service to Krishna. Or knowledge, it is to know Krishna as Purushottama, Sa Sarvavid. And it is not just, you can say, intellectual knowledge, but it is a knowledge which has to be a transformational knowledge. So, and this transformation only happens when we do Bhajati Mam Sarva Bhavena. Bhajati Mam. When we do bhakti or devotional service to Krishna. And how will that person worship? Bhajati means bhajan karna, worship karna. How does that person exactly worship me? Then he's saying sarva bhavena. Sabhi bhavnao ke saath, with all the emotions of the heart, you worship me. So actually, the result of knowledge is devotion. And मतलब क्या, जब ज्ञान आता है तो ज्ञान के पीछे पीछे भक्ति भी होनी चाहिए. ज्ञान का परिणाम ही या ज्ञान का रिजल्ट ही भक्ति होना चाहिए. So this is the ज्ञान section that we are doing ना. That is why we sing. समझ में आते कि अरे ज्ञान की क्या जरूरत है, भावनाओं के साथ ही जो है हम भगवान की भक्ति कर सकते हैं. But no, then this knowledge only should lead to surrender. And Krishna has talked about this earlier also, that when one understands him to be the source of everything, aham sarvasva prabhuvo matta sarvasva pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha mam samarvite. So one who knows that he is only sarvam, and when one knows him like this, bhajate mam buddha bhava. So when such a person becomes Buddha, or Krishna has used this word over here, sarva with over here. The same bhav, samanvitaha. Such a person, he will worship me with bhav, samanvitaha, with all his emotions. See, bhakti means only emotions. And here also Krishna says with all emotions he worships. So basically knowledge doesn't lead to dissolution of emotions. नॉलेज मतलब ये नहीं कि हाँ बस अब सारे इमोशंस को खत्म कर दो और भगवान की शरण में जाओ, नहीं. बट नॉलेज विल लीड टू इंटेंसिफाइंग द इमोशंस. देखिए हमारे पास, सभियों के पास अलग अलग इमोशंस है, राइट. कभी कोई बिल्कुल भावुक हो जाता है, कभी कोई रोने लगता है, कभी कोई क्रोधित हो जाता है. ये सारे इमोशंस है, राइट. दीज ऑल आर इमोशंस. Now these only emotions, when currently our emotions are plugged into wrong sockets, right. कि wrong socket means फैमिली का सॉकेट है या फ्रेंड के सॉकेट में अटका हुआ है, या गर्लफ्रेंड है या बॉयफ्रेंड. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट यू ऑल, बट जनरली लोगों का. सो गर्लफ्रेंड में है या बॉयफ्रेंड में है या किसी प्रॉपर्टी में है या किसी लैंड में है या किसी मंशा में है या some desire, I want to become prime minister, I want to become this, I want to. So those are wrong sockets, right? So this knowledge does not lead to that dissolution, but this knowledge will lead to intensifying these emotions. And this Mayavadi idea is that when we get Gyan, we understand that everything is one and all the emotions are useless. And only I am the one existing. So who is there to love? There is nobody to love. That is why if you see, the Mayavadis, they enter into the Brahma Jyoti and they think I am the only one, and in Brahma Jyoti mein wohi akela reh raha hai. Because in Brahma Jyoti, even if there are many other souls, that particular soul cannot see the other souls at all. He can only see himself. He cannot interact with anybody in the Brahma Jyoti. This is one, understanding. So the idea is that we have to go beyond emotions. But Krishna says that knowledge doesn't lead to dissolution of emotions. Emotions को खत्म नहीं करता है. लेकिन knowledge leads to the intensification of emotions, because all the emotions are sarva bhavena. All these emotions, they become concentrated on one person, that is कृष्णा. हमारी सारी इमोशंस हम किस में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं? हम कृष्णा में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. और क्योंकि अभी हम लोग ने अपनी सारी इमोशंस जो है गलत जगह पे, गलत सॉकेट्स में लगाए हुई है, तो हम दुखी है. लेकिन जब हम हमारे इमोशंस we will apply them on Krishna, then only we will be happy. Sarva bhavena. All these emotions have to be invested on whom? Krishna. When you water the root, automatically all the branches and all the twigs will be nourished. So similarly, when you establish your relationships and you invest all your emotions in Krishna, then all the other relations, they fall in their place automatically, because we see it in the perspective that these living entities also are part and parcel of Krishna. This dead matter also belongs to Krishna. This property also belongs to Krishna. This land also belongs to Krishna. And everything, whatever I am possessing, that belongs to Krishna. Now, when with this attitude, when one worships, then his emotions get intensified and he has a gratitude for Krishna and he submissively surrenders to Krishna. Okay, let's see the last shloka. So here Krishna is giving a falashruti. He's giving a summary also, and he's giving a falashruti also. How merciful the Lord is कि हमें जो है इनाम भी मिलेगा. अगर आपने सुना हुआ ये पूरा 15वां अध्याय, तो ये है आपका इनाम. This is your reward or award, right? So Krishna is saying that इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृतस्यश्च भारत. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic literature, is O sinless one, and it is disclosed by me. Whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection. तो जो कोई भी ये समझ लेता है तो वो क्या बनेगा? और बुद्धिमान बनेगा. And whatever endeavor he will do, it will actually get him to that perfection level. So there is another superlative empathetic verse. This is what Krishna is saying over here. He's saying that iti guhyatamam. See, guhyata, guhyatara, and guhyatam, right? So these are like superlative, degree. So this is the most superlative. Guhya, guhyata, guhyatara, and guhyatamam, right? So guhya is secret, and guhyatamam is the most secret, and this is the most secret knowledge among all the Shastras. So the Vedas talk about many other demigods, but there the ultimate purpose is to, direct towards Krishna. And this is the confidential knowledge. It is iti guhyatamam shastram, he is saying. So when Bhagavatam describes that when Brahmaji studies the Vedas, what happened is, first time when he heard it, he thought that the conclusion is Karma Kanda. Okay. Then the second time when he heard it, he thought that the conclusion is Jnana Kanda. The third time when he heard, uh, he he understands that, oh, the conclusion is what? Conclusion is bhakti. So, iti guhyatamam shastram. So, what is that confidential knowledge? भगवान ने क्या सीक्रेट बताया हुआ है यहाँ पे? That's that secret. What Krishna is saying is that Krishna is Purushottama. He is the goal of the Vedas. By the Vedas, I am to be known. And he's saying that iti uktam maya gnah, and I have spoken to you because you are anagah, you are spotless, you are a sinless one, you are non-envious person. So even in the 9th chapter, if I'll remember, he had said that idam tute guhyatam pravakshami anusuyate. So, very confidential knowledge I'm going to speak to you because you are non-envious, you know. And even in the Bhagavatam, it says that dharma projita kaitava atra nirmatsaranam satam, nirmatsaranam satam. Who can understand the Bhagavatam? Those who are non-envious people. And then he's saying that here, etat budhava buddhimanah. Etat Buddha means one who knows this, then what will happen to him? Buddhiman syatah. Syat means one becomes intelligent. And he becomes truly wise person. Becomes truly intelligent. Right? And then he's saying that after he becomes wise, then what exactly happens? Krita kritascha bharata. Such a person's action or whatever action he will do, he will always attain success. Whatever actions he will do, he will always attain success. जो व्यक्ति समझ लेता है कि भगवान ही पुरुषोत्तम है, भगवान ही सब कुछ करता है, तो वो व्यक्ति जो कोई भी कार्य करेगा उस कार्य में उसे सफलता प्राप्त होगी. So, if you see, even in the purport over here, the problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of heart. And which means what? That instead of serving for Krishna, we actually give up for the lower desires. हम है ना जो है we give up to the lower desires. Okay, lower desires means I want this, I want that, and I want to enjoy this, and I want to enjoy that. This is what. But by praying to Krishna and by solidifying our connection with Krishna, whenever we have this facility, then we become more stronger. No. And then this weakness of the heart will, we will overcome this weakness of the heart. Because if you see in this chapter, the first 5 verses describes the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart, and the rest of the chapter from the 6th verse to the end discusses Purushottam Yoga. So then the weaknesses of the heart will become more stronger, and instead of enjoying separate from Krishna, we want to serve Krishna, and when we want to love Krishna. So now in this way, if you see this whole chapter that is there, this whole chapter, it starts from the banyan tree, which means that detachment over there. Then he talks about without detachment, one has to continue the cycle of birth and death, and therefore one has to have jnana chakshu for that. And then what happens if one does not have jnana chakshu? Then it says that see the hand of Krishna. Even in the material, you can see the hand of Krishna everywhere. And when you see the hand of Krishna, then uh, it is actually trying to liberate us from the material existence. And then from jnana to bhakti is given more in the three shloki Bhagavad Gita over here, 16, 17, and 18, where the whole Vedanta is explained and how it leads to devotion. And then understanding that Krishna is the highest reality and bhakti to him is the highest sadhana. So that's um, that's how the Subodhini says that we learn from this chapter that the person who is different from the conditioned and liberated souls and who supports and is superior to both of them is the Supreme Lord Krishna. So the Falashruti is that anybody who knows this most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures and whoever understands this will firstly have knowledge, secondly, he'll have realization, and the third is that all his endeavors will attain perfection. Whatever he will endeavor for, he will get perfection, right? So if somebody is endeavoring to please Krishna, he'll get perfection in that, right? It's all about pleasing Krishna. The existence of our living is only, or we're existing only to please Krishna. We have been created only to please Krishna that way. So anybody has any questions, doubts, queries, you all can ask me. About this chapter, of course, or else we'll go to the 16th chapter. We still have a lot of time. The divine and the demoniac. Okay, so I just have to stop the recording.